Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD, come up with daily analysis and trade ideas for the day. So, as always, we will jump into Forex Factory to check the news for the day. So, yesterday we didn't have any high impact news with regards to the US. So today we have CPI 130. So that will be key news event. So yeah, we'll see what will happen. So let's look at the charts and see what happened yesterday and then what we can expect to see today. So starting on the daily, so we were expecting price to mitigate this daily supply or this daily demand. So NFP was the catalyst to push price to mitigate the supply. All right, and then we've seen the supply have a reaction. Okay, and then we had a very strong reaction to come down there. However, it wasn't strong enough to cause price to continue dropping to the demand zone. So the picture is clearer on the 4-hour. So on the 4-hour, after mitigating this extreme 4-hour POI that's nested in the daily, we did have a change of character right over there, and then but that only allowed price to come down into this 4-hour demand POI, and then that's when we've had a reaction. Okay, we've had a reaction. So so we were expecting this. So either price would come up and then come down to then take out this, or rather take out this for our POI to then mitigate this extreme demand before maybe eventually continuing bullish. Okay. So when we look at the 1-hour, we had this 1-hour POI and it was just mitigated right at the tip. Okay, right at the proximal line, and then price bounced off. Okay, so that was the trade idea we had yesterday, and I was saying that would be an easy, or at least a quick 2-hour, and yep, 2.2 would be our target, and it went all the way to almost 3. Okay, almost 3. So yeah, happy days. Okay, so that's just a quick reaction, because the expectation is eventually if price comes back, we'll have a deeper mitigation and possibly this will fail, simply because when you look at the left side, we just have a straight, pretty much, straight bullish candles. Okay, so it's likely that this was the first push, all right, to mitigate, and then we'll have a deeper mitigation, and then most likely this will fail. Okay, most likely that will fail, so that at least we mitigate the daily demand before we can start looking to continue bullish. Okay, another reasoning for that is because we have reacted from a daily supply, so it is highly likely that for the trend change, right, the current trend change to take place, we also need to react from an opposing daily demand. Okay, so that was yesterday's analysis. So looking at today, what we can expect. So today there is CPI. Okay, Today there will be CPI. So CPI could then be the catalyst to push price to mitigate this demand. Okay, it could be, or because we've had this rejection, it could be the catalyst to then push price to then simply take out this um, non-fresh demand. I mean, non-fresh supply area that we have over there. Okay, but as it stands, supply is in control. So from a technical basis, we could expect CPI to simply facilitate the push down, so that at least we mitigate this demand, or at least this demand range. Okay, and then on the 4-hour, we no longer have anything fresh to look at. So it's either CPI will push and then we will eliminate this demand. Once we start to see demand failing, then it could mean that we might be having a possible long-term retracement, right? Or it's just a push to mitigate this demand before we look to go bullish again. So as it stands, price is now kind of stuck in the middle. Okay, it's kind of stuck in the middle, so we have to either wait for the news, so that either this POI fails or it continues bullish and takes out that extreme POI. Yes, there was an internal or sub-internal break of structure. This is another sub-internal break of structure bearish. So this gives us a new supply area. Okay, a new supply zone. It's a tight range, so we could be looking to continue bearish. Okay, so this is my new supply. New supply range on the 4-hour, which has not been mitigated. So it's very much possible that price will push it down, will push it up, and then it could continue bearish. Okay. Okay, so that is supply, because right there is where we had our IBOS. In this case, this is our sub IBOS. Okay, so looking at the 1-hour. 1-hour is bearish. We've already had our internal break of structure bearish. We've had our pullback. If we look at our range, alright, so if we do this, if this becomes our weak internal, right, that becomes a weak internal low, and then the price has mitigated premium. Okay, we've reached up to EQ, and then we're having a little bit of a reaction. This is a demand. Sorry, this is a supply. Right there. Yeah, could say it has been mitigated on departure, but it's still, well, we didn't have a real consolidation away and then a mitigation. So we could just consider this as one leg going down. Okay. Then we had a slight pullback, so we could say, all right, this is a sweep. Could say that is a sweep. Okay. So this is what we have. This is a weak. This is a weak low. So we always expect weak lows to be run. Okay. So meaning the expectation would be, all right, we do not have any POI here. Okay, because nothing broke any structure. So price could mitigate that and then come back down. Okay, because this is the only extreme POI that we have available to short from. Okay, so that has not been mitigated. So either we wait for that to be mitigated, or if price just drops, then we'll have to wait for this to be at least to be taken out, and then whatever POI is formed, then we can like to then trade from that POI. Okay, so that would be the analysis for today. So we are waiting for this POI to be mitigated to then look for shorts. Okay, now this is our internal is still bullish. Okay, our internal is still bullish, although we have had a sub the current order flow is bearish. Okay, so current order flow is bearish, so we could be looking at bearish continuation, although it could be short-lived. Okay, although it could be short-lived. So but for today, I think that's the trade idea. We're looking at this high to then maybe look for quick shots. Okay, then look for quick shots, and that should be it. That's like 17, and then yeah, 2.2. Yeah, I think should be fine. Should be fine. So if we mitigate, and then we could get 2.2 coming down here. Okay, so that's the analysis of the day. So please, if you find help, value in this content, please hit the like and subscribe and share as well. All right, so other than that, have a good day and we'll see you tomorrow. Waking Trader out.